Hello boys and girls, Lord Hawkeye here again, and welcome again to Mindcraft, where we seek higher understanding of the gaming world at large, while watching Shammy fish in her Valentine's dress for no particularly good reason. But never mind that. Today I wish to speak of a creature who has had an explosive population growth, it seems, these days, and it's gotten me a little bit concerned that it may overpopulate if not properly contained. This creature I am speaking of is the Gaming Cynic. And, no, this is not another slam on Total Biscuit. Personally, I don't even think he actually is a cynic, at least by the definition I go by. No, what I'm talking about is people who always expect the worst out of video games, out of the gaming community in general. And yeah, you could apply a lot of this to real life, but it seems to be something particularly prevalent among gaming these days. Maybe that's just me, but anyways, shall we go on? I'll start with, I think it's first started alarming me when I looked at a thread of people who asked about, do you take Yahtzee's zero punctuation reviews seriously? And I was very shocked to find a vast majority of people say they do, at least in some capacity or another. And I don't get this at all. Because I think Total Biscuit himself said it best. He said, taking Yahtzee's reviews seriously is like watching the Colbert Report to get your news. You're really, really missing the whole point of the exercise. Well, that isn't... Even though I do think Yahtzee doesn't play himself off as ironically as he should, he sometimes seems to be actually trying to be serious, and I think that's where some of the confusion lies. But anyways, people who expect the worst of the gaming industry tend to justify this by saying, oh, well, if we always expect the worst of games, that's how, if we always nitpick and criticize games all the time, we'll make the industry better, we'll motivate them to do better. Really? Think back to last time you had a teacher or boss who was always critical of you. Did you feel motivated to do better and show them? No, your reaction was, well, gee, he's never pleased, so why bother? And you just did the bare minimum it took to get him off your back. It's the same thing. It's the same deal. Like, when the game developers try new things and all everyone can do is nitpick insignificant things and not take a look and not really objectively take a look and see, did they really come up with a good idea here? That's not going to win. That doesn't incentivize them to keep trying new things. That's how you incentivize game developers to just go right back into their sequel save zone. And come on, we don't want that. In fact, you guys rail about it all the time. Oh, they do nothing but sequels all the time. No one tries anything new. And I say, well, maybe that's because you bite them whenever they try to do that. So, might want to ease up on that a little bit. It's just an idea. The other bit of cynicism I often get that really irks me these days is, particularly in World of Warcraft, you often get people who say that pugs are terrible, don't do pugs in dungeons, or Alliance is bad at PvP, Horde's bad at PvP. Believe me, both camps say this. They're both very guilty of this. And the more I look at it, the more I start to think, I think these people are totally bringing it all onto themselves. Really, seriously. It's a little phenomenon I call play to lose and you lose. Because I pug all the time, really. I try to run with guildmates, but I don't know if I just have bad timing, but they are just never available when I want to run. I don't know why. It just seems to be a thing. But I pug all the time, and I have to say that the vast majority of them do just fine. Yeah, there's the occasional bad group, but they are way in the minority. Yes, I'm perfectly aware this is anecdotal, but so is the evidence that the cynics present. So I guess we're even on that. So yeah, I go into pugs expecting to win. It doesn't always happen, but most of the time it does. Now I do fancy myself a generally good leader in groups like this, but I don't think I'm so crazy awesome that I negate all the badness of people around me. I mean, come on, I'm not that arrogant. So, I think a lot of these people who say how terrible pugs are either are horribly guilty of selection bias, or worse yet, they go into pugs expecting to lose and they end up making it happen. It kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, I don't have near the problems people have. I got a couple stories, but not all that much. And so it really gets me thinking how much of the cynicism is really justified. And my bigger problem with cynicism is people say it's how you protect yourself, it's how you be alert, and it's a sign of maturity. The truth is, no, it isn't. Here's the truth. When you're a child, you're naive. You think the best of everything because you lack experience. You haven't seen that there are evils of the world. There are people who aren't very nice all the time. So when you get to be about a teenager, at this point you've experienced a lot of the bad stuff in the world, and you go through this phase of, oh, the world sucks, nobody understands, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, we all remember that. We all look back on it with a bit of shame. And the thing is, what's supposed to happen is when you grow up, you realize that both these positions are wrong. You realize life is way more complicated than that. So what you're supposed to do is move from being cynical to being skeptical. Some people conflate these two, but no, they're not the same thing. Being cynical means dismissing everything as wrong or bad or whatever right out of hand, and only believing it's good when you're given huge evidence, and even then that's no guarantee. Being skeptical means being open to the possibility that it might be bad and being open to the possibility that it might be good. Because the problem with both positions of being naive and being cynical is that basically they're both making unfounded assumptions. Being skeptical is understanding that you don't know all the facts yet, and that you need to learn more before you can make a judgment. That's like I've told people before. You can convince me that my positions on politics or gaming or religion are wrong. I've stated very clearly what I would accept as proof. But I'm not going to budge on that until said proof is offered. I don't dismiss these things purely out of hand. I dismiss them because nobody has ever offered the evidence I need to accept them. So that's how it works. Don't get cynicism and skepticism wrong. They are not the same thing. And being cynical doesn't mean you're grown up. It means you turned off your creativity in your teens. And if that's really the case, then I'd say you've done yourself a disservice, and I would really recommend you think it over a little more carefully, because I think you're really cheating yourself if that's the position you take. Well, that's it for now. Speaking of pugs, I've been thinking of doing a series of videos on tanking, because it seems like so many people are so afraid of tanking, and then it's always a pain for people to get tanks, and I think that's very unfortunate, because personally, I love tanking. I mean, I DPS at times, but tanking will always be my first love. And I think it can be other people's loves if they just give it a chance and really help dispel some of the myths about it. So, tell me what you think. Do you think it would be good if I did a series of videos about tanking, dispelling some of the myths and telling people how it can be just as fun as DPSing, if not more? You know, give me your thoughts on this and any others. If you have any ideas for videos or anything like that, please leave a comment or send me a PM. I love getting them. And that's all I got to say about that. Until next time, be aware and be wise. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day. See ya.